Now it says live on YouTube.
Yeah, because I just did that again so that we could be live and post this link and send this link properly. Like if you click on the link that's over here, that's not leading to us currently, is it? No, it's definitely a different link. Oh my God. Oops.
Oh, wow. Ari, so I'm looking at it on YouTube and it seems like it's working.
Yeah, I see it as well. I think we're good.
I don't know if Alex has the right link.
Oh, yeah, she'll need it again. Yeah.
I sent it to her again.
Thank you.
I sent it to her and Bill.
Where's Bill Murray? Is he expected?
As far as I know, he is. Should we text him?
Can we send him a chat via Zoom?
Yeah, actually, I can invite him.
Text him, whatever.
I'll text him.
He's here. All right, everyone's here. Bill, you're sideways.
Should we stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As a way of respecting, honoring, and creating awareness about our past, we begin our village board meetings by acknowledging that New Paltz is on the ancestral land of the Munsee, Esopus, and Lenape people.
Okay, so in terms of adding something to this agenda, we have the request to extend the farmer's market by 2 weeks. So I'd like, may I just add that to the consent agenda? Does anyone have an issue with that? You guys are fine?
Let's please do it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
You know what, I think another thing that was suggested to me that we should try to do is say our name before any one of us speaks.
Can you give me an example so I don't do it weirdly?
So you just said, this is Alex. Can you give me an example?
This is Alex, thank you.
This is Tim. So we have an announcement. We want to notify the public that the draft MS4 annual report for the period ending March 9th, 2020 is available for review and comment. I believe that is already posted on our website if anyone would like to review that document. Is that correct, Ari?
Yes, it is on the website.
Okay, and since we're in announcements, I have two brief updates. We had an encouraging call with the engineers and architect regarding our fire station project, and we're anticipating having 100% bid docs ready by June 16th. So everything seems to be moving forward, and we're excited that we're going to construct a building that's as energy efficient as possible. We were able to use the funding from NYSERDA and their consultant to make sure that review of the building and the materials that we'll be using is as green as possible. So everything is good on that front. And then another announcement, we're just about ready to complete the 72-hour pump test for the wells that we're in the middle of testing that are down at the Moriello Pool property. Both of those wells seem to be performing well, and it looks like the any sort of connection between the surface water and then the fracture several hundred feet below is not occurring. So we're excited that this second 72-hour pump test seems to be going well, and that will generate about 75 gallons per minute, which is a fairly significant chunk of our total municipal water use in New Paltz. Anyone else have announcements to share?
Can we just add to that announcement that our COVID-19 response summary document is constantly being updated and useful, and anyone can access it anywhere. bit.ly/ whatever it was, we'll put it in the minutes. But
Great.
it's an ongoing thing.
Great. Any other announcements? So, Ari, are we able to do public comment, or there's no one here from the public, right? Even if the public is watching on YouTube, they can't raise their hand, and we can't call on them if they wanted to.
They can write to us live on YouTube. So
Okay, so
anybody
maybe
who wants could theoretically write something if they had a public comment.
Okay. So I don't believe anyone is written to us and asked to make a public comment, so I'm gonna go ahead onto our next item and motion to move the consent agenda.
Second.
You gotta say your name.
Bill seconding.
Tim said all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item 1 on the business agenda, climate discussion items. Does anyone want to comment on that topic? Okay.
It's Alex. And I would argue that even though we already, discussed the extension of the farmers market by 2 weeks, of course, supporting our local farmers markets and our local artists and activists at local markets that are just down the street is one of the best ways to be a good environmentalist.
Good point. So the next agenda item, we have Stephen Cook with us on the Zoom. We have a seat available on the Historic Preservation Commission with a term that would expire May of 2022. This is an alternate seat. So I think some of us have met Stephen, but maybe if anyone had questions about his interest in serving on HPC, he's here to answer questions. So Stephen, why don't you jump in and tell us a little bit about your interest in serving on HPC?
Okay, this is Stephen Cook. I have lived in the village for the last 16 or 17 years, living on Prospect Street in an old village Victorian, kind of across the street and down from Bill. And my wife and I are moving in the next couple of weeks to Huguenot Street, to an older house. And I have grown up in some very old houses and have an interest and have lived in the community long enough to feel like I might be able to contribute. There's certainly a lot to learn about the code and how old houses and old buildings and how establishments fit in with a modern world. And I'm happy to offer my services to contribute and help out. I've been to one meeting of the HPC as an applicant last summer and have been at on Zoom recently with one meeting with Tom and others. And so I'm getting a sense of how this works in the village and looking forward to contributing.
Great. Steve, were you with us last week when we had that workshop to discuss the idea of creating like a design review process?
Yes, I did. There's a lot for me to learn. There is a very steep learning curve of all the issues going on, but I did attend that. Yes.
Great. Any thoughts on what we're trying to do?
As written, everything I saw seemed pretty well along, and I thought it was pretty well thought out with taking everyone's varied needs into consideration.
Anyone else from the village board have a question for Steve?
This is Alex. My one question was already kind of answered at the workshop meeting that we were all at last week, but just, you know, considering this is our current reality, figure I'd throw it out there. How comfortable are you, taking on this like great, volunteer role right now in these times where you might not necessarily get to sit down with, Professor Olson and team?
Well, as I first approached Tom and we talked a couple months ago, he said, well, maybe we can get together for a cup of coffee. Unfortunately, that never happened. So there's an awful lot that I can learn through the minutes. I've gone through some of the minutes and some of the recordings, not the recordings, but some of the transcripts. And after the one meeting that I did visually attend, I did take a walk up Huguenot Street. There was one in the 190s. There was a house that was applying to change some windows. So I did get a chance to go and look at that on the fly. And then I was able to send some pictures to Tom as he was not able to get out and offer a few thoughts. So I don't really mind the technology at all. This is our current reality. In my regular working life, I'm the director of the public library in Rhinebeck. So as part of the Mid-Hudson system, we're having meetings just like this, and this is how organizations are now running. So this is just, whenever I get to a meeting that actually takes place, that will be fine, but otherwise this is good too.
Thanks for your flexibility.
Hey, Stephen, it's Bill. Have you ever served on a board in the village before, or another board?
I have not. This is my first foray into serving in the community.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, I would like to motion that we appoint Steve Cook as an alternate to the HPC per the term that I mentioned earlier.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay. Thank you. I will see you soon.
Okay, so our next agenda item, we have this resolution for the village to waive late fees for water and sewer payments that were due on March 30th. So basically, anyone who makes their water or sewer bill payment, as long as they pay it by April 30th, there would be no fee. The challenge that we have is that we would not be able to waive fees beyond that or not collect, because we need to close out our fiscal year 1920 books. Otherwise, if an individual or property owner hasn't paid this fee, it could be added to their tax bill when we start collecting taxes in June of this year. So we're trying to provide a little bit of flexibility, and we've discussed before about the idea of providing additional flexibility once the July 1st, after July 1st, when there are bills due for fiscal 2021.
Hey, Tim, I just want to add one thing and ask a question. When Will, Frank, and I were putting this together, he said that that you guys should decide and we should include in this whether or not if it does get re-levied on severe taxes, if the late fee is still waived, or if at that point you wanted to add the late fee back into the bill.
I don't think we intend to collect any late fees, even if a bill that wasn't paid by the end of April.
Okay.
So if you owe whatever you owe, we're not going to calculate any late fees. Unfortunately, it would be added to your bill, but I don't think our plan is to add any late fees at all.
Okay. I will add that to be specified into this resolution.
You think we need an additional detail about that just to make it clear? Because as of right now, you're saying it's still open to interpretation. We could.
I guess what
add-
Will was saying is that if we wanted to make sure they got added back in, we should add something, but I can ask him if he thinks we should put something in either way.
Okay. Any other discussion from the board on this resolution? I think what we need to do is to tee up the next resolution, because our next water bills will be due June 30th. And there we have a more flexibility because that fiscal year will not end until, technically, June of 2021. So we'll probably be using another version of this resolution with updated dates for that bill. So do you want to tee that up and put that on an upcoming agenda?
Definitely, I can do that.
Okay.
This is
So
Alex.
what?
I'll also make like an easier to share version of this resolution once it has all the signatures on it, just because I know this is a question that a lot of us have been getting, so it's easier to kind of like text back. So I'll share that when it's done.
Okay. Do we want to have a conversation at all about we're going to be collecting taxes during the month of June. They will all be due by June 30th. I don't think there's really any mechanism for us to, push that off, because then, we will not be able to service the debt that, we'll need to make interest payments and principal payments in September for, our 4 different borrowings. We have 2 bands and 2 serial bonds.
Yeah, this is Alex. And we might not be able to answer this question at all. It's just a question I had in my notes that probably goes to Nancy, but I was curious about the process, because I remember, the process with folks who did not pay their taxes, the whole noticing in the paper and all of that, like that kind of buys people time and also makes it possible for municipalities to, make sure folks are found, when they don't pay their taxes. But it just seems like I haven't been able to find anywhere what goes on now in these times when you can't necessarily like deliver that piece of paper to the paper of note, and all of that. And of course, that's not like a process that we want, to encourage at all, but I just know it's like the next steps. And I'm just wondering if you've seen anywhere in any of like the executive orders, these little, I guess, small municipality minutia being addressed at all.
Well, the way it currently works is the vast majority of property owners pay their taxes on time. And then the handful, and this is, pre-COVID world, the handful that are not able to, for whatever reason, we as a village really go above and beyond and reach out to them many times to give them a chance to pay. And then at the beginning of the year, we then put notices in the paper publicly noticing that their taxes are due. And then even once those are published, the vast majority end up paying their taxes, because what the Village of New Paltz does is, because we collect the taxes as opposed to the county doesn't collect taxes on our behalf, but then we will sell the tax sale certificate to a third party who then will have the right to collect taxes and interest from that individual. And what we do is we sell those to interested third parties in March of each year. So the timing of all of, publicly noticing who might still owe tax money, and then whether or not that tax sale certificate gets sold, that all happens in first quarter of each year.
Oh, thanks.
But there still would be, and this is state law, that interest is due at a rate of 1% per month. So it's a pretty high rate. I believe there's been discussions in the state legislature to change that, have it something that's reflective of market interest rates. But my understanding is that state law has been 1% per month for many years, and there's been no change with that. But what we like to do as a village is we try to collect all of the taxes, and then if there's any that have not been paid, there are a couple of third parties who buy those tax sale certificates, so at least we're made whole, so that we can continue to have enough cash flow to meet our obligations. But I don't think that there would really be a mechanism to not collect that 1% per month, whether it's the village who is owed the money or whether it's a third party, because that's a function of state law.
Thank you.
Unless
That
the
was
le-
like the perfect summary.
Yeah, so unless the legislature makes a change, I don't think that there's anything that we can do on the local level, similar to what we're doing with the water bill fee that we charge folks. So anything else on that before I make a motion to move this resolution? Did you just second that, Alex?
Yeah, that was a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to move bills and claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And have we had I think we had on Tuesday, a planning board meeting. Was there interesting stuff to share with us, Michelle, from the planning board? No, that's Bill, your ZBA.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, your picture is now the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz.
I don't know how that happened. Nothing to report, thanks.
Okay. But they had a meeting on Tuesday, correct? They successfully met using, some sort of online service. Oh, Bill, it seems like you're on mute.
Okay, how's that?
Definitely
Perfect.
still Tin Man.
You look,
It's been a long day, so why am I sideways?
You fit sideways the whole meeting.
Really? All I'm seeing is the Tin Man. Yeah, the meeting went for about 15 minutes, and it's just the shed was reviewed again. There'll be a public hearing on that, and another public hearing scheduled for April 21st.
Wasn't the second meeting, the next week's meeting moved to the 23rd? I think that was what Alana told me today.
I thought it was the 21st, but I don't have my notes right here for some reason. It's later in the month.
and have we had a ZBA meeting?
This is Michelle. No, we have one on the next Tuesday.
Next week?
Correct.
Okay, I think that's it. We can go ahead and adjourn. You guys can get back to non-videotaped life.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank
night.
you.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, right. Second.
Hey, Ari,
Yeah,
just give me a call because I need to set something up for a meeting tomorrow. I need your help with that.
sure.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
And Ari, I'll hit you up about a better time to talk about the EV bill soon. Thanks. Bye.
Sounds good. Perfect.
Yay.